Check, check, check. Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y. You're tuned into How I See It TV, and this is How I See It Live, the afternoon edition. I'm just going to give y'all a little bit more time to get in here. This is a live stream after all, and I love the interaction. In the chat. Once again, I am trying out a new streaming service, Restream. It's a little bit better than StreamYard with some things, but I do miss StreamYard. I do miss StreamYard. So I might just end up going back to StreamYard because I got so acclimated with their system that learning this new one is just seem too much. But I'm gonna try to stay with Restream a little bit longer. I'm going to try to put out more content. Um, so just continue to be patient with me. I continue to say thank you to everyone that supports the channel still, checks out the videos still. I truly, truly appreciate that. Please remember to like this video if you're a part of the replay gang. Like, share, subscribe if you have not done so as yet. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. And TikTok is where you get to see a different side of me, the things that I'm watching on Netflix or Hulu, the places I'm shopping, the things that I'm checking out, the things that I'm liking, the music, all kinds of stuff, even information surrounding my day as a teacher, the teacher life. I may create another TikTok to showcase um things about me as an early childhood educator. I might not put it on my How I See It platform, but I'll give y'all more updates regarding that in the near future. So, my topics for the day. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you for being here. My topics for this live stream are one, Sarah Jakes Roberts. For those of you who might not know, she is TD Jakes' daughter. She has been named as his successor now for the Potter's House Church, and she also has her own church alongside her husband, Torre. And people are online right now. I guess the word that I'll use is, I'll say bashing, for want of a better word. They are bashing Sarah Jakes Roberts um, because of the Women Evolve conference and how expensive it was. Um, I think the ticket prices started from $200 to $600. And a lot of people on social media, especially within the Christian community on YouTube, they're saying that, they don't look at Sarah Jakes Roberts as a Christian leader. Now, I don't know a lot about Sarah Jakes Roberts. One of the viral videos that I've seen of her is when her wig was coming off while she was preaching a sermon. And she was like, I'm going to take my wig off. And that went viral. I really don't know how she is when it comes to ministry. And honestly, as a churchy kid, because I grew up in the church, I was in church, as Jamaicans would say, from my eyes were at my knees. Okay. That's how long I was in the church for. I was leading. Um, Sunday school. I was teaching Sunday school. I was leading youth choir. I was leading praise and worship. I was on the dance ministry. I was preaching sometimes on youth Sundays. I was singing all over the place, with my church, or even as just a solo act if my church needed somebody to represent them somewhere. So I grew up in a different, I feel like, between the 90s and probably like 2009 thereabout. I feel like church was different, and especially the culture that I'm coming from. As many of y'all know, I am Jamaican. So the culture that I'm coming from, pastors, wives, church members, it was a little different from how it is right now. I think everybody right now, even pastors, all these churches, they want to go viral. They want to have their clips on the blogs, on Shade Room, on Gossip, on Neighborhood Talk. They want to be like Beyonce, having sold out tours and stuff like that. So maybe, maybe the people who are talking about this Women Evolve conference, maybe they're haters, or maybe they are just seeing things for what it is. That Christianity right now seems to be more about, sorry, y'all, that Christianity right now is more about, pastors and churches making money rather than it being about actually winning souls. Because a conference for $600, a conference for $600, y'all, that's basically a meet and greet or a book signing, is crazy, crazy work. What kind of spiritual upliftment did people actually get at this conference? You know, I don't know. They're playing boots on the ground and all kinds of stuff. Like, I don't know. So I might have to go do a little bit more research and do a little, a deeper dive into the Women Evolve conference. I might have to go and listen to Sarah Jakes Roberts and see what her preaching style is like. Some people are like, she doesn't even know the Bible, because I guess at the Women Evolve conference, hey Chef Don Down, at the Women Evolve conference, I guess she said something like, um, only strong women have strong holes. And I'm like, I'm like, ooh, strong women have strong holds. Well, I guess what she was, I don't know what she was trying to say with that. That if you're a strong woman, I don't know what she was trying to say with that. Because my understanding of a stronghold is like this is my understanding of a stronghold. And I'm talking as someone who hasn't been to church in a while. But to me, a stronghold is like, um a sin or something that you're finding hard to let go of, or something, certain temptations that you are finding hard not to heed to, or something. So I don't know what she meant by that. Maybe she needs to clarify. But I know the Christians over here on YouTube are dragging her for filth because of this conference. um Chef, you said most conferences like that cost big bucks. I mean, I understand it, but isn't that, I mean, you are Sarah Jakes Roberts, TD Jakes' daughter. You're telling me that they can't get sponsors to foot most of the bill for that, so that people don't have to be paying upwards of $1,000 to attend this conference? It was It used to be, so it was women. It was woman thou art loose when TD Jakes was running the church, right? And now it's now women. It's now we, women evolve. I know the minute they said that some of the tickets were $600, I was already turned off because I'm not going to not one Christian conference that is going to run me $600. $200 to come and hear about Jesus is kind of cutting it a little too high still, but I might pay that. But I'm not edging towards $600,000 for a conference that is supposed to be about pouring into my spirit and helping to bring me closer to God and stuff like that. So I don't know. I am on the side of the people who are dragging this conference for filth. Even in the mission statement and the objective of the Women Evolve conference, there is nothing in it that talks about the gospel, spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ or anything like that. It's all about changing, I guess, how women navigate Christianity. And I'm like, I don't understand why there needs to be a change in how people navigate within Christianity when everything is supposed to be Bible based, right? So if you're following the Bible, there should be nothing new aged about how you're navigating Christianity. There should be nothing new aged about that. But I'm gonna let Sarah have it. And maybe she'll respond to some of the people who went to the conference and felt like it was a waste of money. And maybe she'll respond to some of the Christian, bloggers and YouTubers who are dragging this conference for filth. And I mean, I went down the rabbit hole because a lot of my favorite content creators, Chef Don Dot included, when it comes to 11, when it comes to like 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock, ain't none of y'all live. And none of y'all live on YouTube. So I have to go watch old videos or find new people. And I stumbled on some people talking about the Sarah Jakes controversy of the Women Evolve conference, and I was hooked. I watched about 2 3 videos and they were like an hour and a half long, but they made some good points. So I went down the rabbit hole listening to them people today. um Right, Chef. They should not be charging so much, like $600 to come hear about God. One of the YouTubers said, if you go back to the Bible, one of the only times that Jesus was ever angry and one of the only times he was ever violent was when he went up in that temple and he was basically cussing them people out because they turned the temple into this money making machine. And that's true. And the lady in the video said, I wonder if Sarah and Torre and TD Jakes know that the whip, the whip that Jesus was put into to people's back in that temple, that whip is now for them, for the Jakes, because they're turning the temple of God into this money making machine. But I think most mega churches, that's all they are, money making machines. Money making machines. He gave Sarah he gave Sarah the conference a couple of years ago. She turned it into Women Evolve. Oh, I thought it was something new. Interesting. That's why I said I gotta go and do some more research regarding this. I was just listening to the people today and it just piqued my interest. I go to a mega church and the average cost for the women conference, which includes meals, is $75 to $100. Like that I could pay. That I could pay 75 to 100 and I'm getting fed. I'm getting fed spiritually and physically. I can do that. Even Jesus had the people breaking bread. Okay? A loaf of bread and some fish. Even Jesus provided food. So I could do that. But $600, that's a no. I'm not doing $600. Hi, Paula. I be saying the same thing. The senior conference. And then she was also charging for kids. She was also charging for kids. She was charging $150 for girls 12 to 17 years old who wanted to come to the conference. So if you're a mom and you have daughters in church and you wanted to go to this conference, you had to fork out for yourself almost $300 for just the basic ticket. The general admission ticket is like $300, and then you'd have had to find $150 for your daughter. That's crazy. That's crazy. The senior conference is free for senior members of the church. I remember in Jamaica we would go to like a national convention every year. And even then it was like Jamaican $200. And that's like what, $3 here in the US, maybe $5. So even then it wasn't a lot. And that was just so that they could, help to pay the staff who was literally volunteering. Because it's like, I get it, like when you're putting on these big conferences, you need security, you need people to clean up, you need ushers, you need all kinds of things. And a lot of these people are volunteering in the name of Jesus. And you want to give them a little something, something, so they feel good at the end of the day. So a lot of people didn't even feel, any type of way to pay that 200 or that $300. I'm sure now it's probably more, but I don't think it's costing anybody 200 US dollars to go to that conference in Jamaica. Um, Jeff says, not only do you have to pay for your tickets, but you have to pay for your. Yes, because a lot of people are coming from out of town. So those people who had to pay for the ticket to go to the event, the airfare, the hotel, maybe you gotta rent a car, then you haven't even talked about the outfits that you gotta buy to go to this conference, the food that you have to buy in between. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So okay, she's had it for 5 to 6 years. I guess the reason why it's going so viral is because people are upset that the conference didn't give what it was supposed to give. People who went are upset. And then because the people who went are upset, you're gonna have people online in the Christian community who don't like the Jakes family, who probably don't like Sarah Jakes, who are gonna have something to say because people who went are saying it wasn't a good conference. It was basically a book signing and a meet and greet, and that's not what they paid for. And I can understand that because if I go to a conference and it says this is a networking event that's also going to feed your soul and feed your spirit and mind and body and all of that, and when I get there, you're just speaking a whole bunch of gibberish that's not even focused on actual scripture, and it's really just to promote your book, yeah, I'm going to be upset I paid $600 for that. I've gone to Melody's Mimosas with Melody event twice, and twice I can say that the networking component of it is really, really real. The networking component of the Mimosas with Melody, and networking is also on you. You get what I'm saying? When you go to these events and it says that it's a networking opportunity, it's on you to get up out your seat and go introduce yourself to people, talk about your brand, talk about your channel, talk about what you can offer, ask people about what they offer, take people's numbers, take people's cards. That's how you network. So I can say if people went to that conference to network and they just sat in their seats and didn't actually try to introduce themselves, give out a card or something, share their social media handles and stuff, then that's on you. I won't even say that that's on Sarah Jakes. I'm gonna say that's on you because networking is not about you being shy, and that's coming from a shy person. Okay. um People that came from over, girl, these people were spending thousands. Thousands. My pastor says that is why we pay tithes and offering, is to support the church ministries to outside of Sunday services. Yeah, tithes and offering, and this is what I feel about tithes and offerings too. I feel like it's to help with the development of your church and the ministries that your church have. I know that my church, when I was younger in Jamaica, my church had a ministry where they would, on weekends, they would cook food for people who we call shut-ins. So these are like people who in the community we know were sick and they couldn't do a lot for themselves. So we would cook food for them. We would bring groceries to their house, and the tithes and offerings that we would give on Sundays or specific Sundays was to go towards that. Also, for like if we had to go, let's say we had to go to another church across town, we'd have to get a bus. And so we wouldn't have to, as church members, be going into our pockets to pay bus fare. The tithes and offerings that we would give would go towards paying the bus driver, buying gas, all these kinds of things. I don't feel like the churches today are using the money that people are given in tithes and offerings every Sunday to actually develop ministries or to help to build the church or to give back to the communities. I feel like a lot of pastors and people on boards in some of these churches, the deacons and all of that, I feel like the money is going into their pockets. I feel like the money is going into their pockets. When a mother in the community can't afford food for her children, one of the first places that she should be able to go to is the church. When it's back to school time and you can't afford new school shoes for your kid, you can't get them a new bag, you can't get them uniforms, you can't get them books and stuff like that. One of the first places that you should be able to go to is the church. And I don't think that the churches are even open like that anymore, where from Monday to Friday, you can actually walk in and find somebody in there that can help you. If you need baby clothes, you're supposed to be able to go to the church and say, hey, are there any mothers in the church that would be willing to donate some baby clothes, some diapers, some formula? I don't feel like the church of today, they're doing that. They want to go viral. They want to go viral on social media, and they work hard to do that. The pastors be saying whatever they can say to get that viral moment, but I don't think they're really working to give back to the community. And I think that's what's the missing piece is when it comes to church today. Oh, 100. Well, you did say you go to a mega church, because I was about to say, whoa, 167 ministries. That's a lot. That's a lot. But then I forgot you said you go to a mega church. All right. My next topic is Nene Leaks and the Nene Leaks show. And I want to start with the positive. I am so, so happy that Nene Leaks has stayed consistent with her Nene Leaks show. I'm really happy that she stayed consistent, because for a while she started with Pillow Talk, and then that ended on her YouTube channel, and then they started the Best Friend podcast or something, her and Sierra, and then that ended. We still don't really know why. And now she's here and she's doing the Nene Leakes show, and I'm so happy that she stayed consistent. But, but, but when a new episode of the Nene Leaks show drops, right, on a Wednesday or Tuesday, whichever day, clips should be going viral. Clips should be going viral. I don't know if it's the guests that Nene has, or maybe the team that she has, they aren't clipping up the episodes, or parts of the episodes in a way where they're sending it to blogs and they're like, this is a great a great part of the interview. Let's send this to the shade room. Let's send this to neighborhood talk. Let's send this to on site or whatever, so that we can get more traffic to the YouTube channel. I also feel like Nene isn't doing a great job of picking guests. The Trick Daddy interview was great. The Mena interview was trash. Nene did not do any type of research for the Erica Mena interview. And that's another problem that I'm having with Nene. One, she is not promoting the interviews in a way to make them go viral. And two, she is not doing any type of research. Because for one, when Erica Mena said, it's a double standard, that people are upset that she calls Spice a blue monkey, but no one was upset that Spice bleached her skin a couple of years ago. I was like, see, Nene, if you had done research, then you would have known that Spice did not actually bleach her skin. She didn't actually bleach her skin. That whole thing was a concept. It was a social experiment to promote her song Black Hypocrisy. And that song was a story about all the hardship that Spice faced in the music industry as a dark-skinned black woman, especially from a country where colorism is a big problem. In the song Black Hypocrisy that Spice did, she talks about how people would tell her that she would go far. She could have gone further in the music industry if she was light skinned. And so when she was promoting the song Black Hypocrisy, she used makeup, she used photo editing tools to make herself appear to be whiter, so that we would have a discussion about the bleaching epidemic in Jamaica and the colorism that existed in Jamaica and in the dancehall community and in the music fraternity in general. So, Nene, if you had done your research, you'd have been able to say, wait a minute, she never bleached her skin. So you can't compare, Erica, your disrespect to her promoting a song and asking for a conversation regarding something that is deep rooted within the Black community. And so I hope that for the other interviews that Nene might have lined up, that I know a lot of people don't like clip farming, but I do believe that some of these streamers, they have the right idea when they do that. When they find the best moments in their live streams or whatever it is that they're doing, they clip them up and they throw them out there on social media. People can pick it up and reshare, share and repost and all of that. Nene, you got to get your team on that. I didn't like the Tommy interview. I felt like it was extremely boring. And I don't know if it's because Nene doesn't know Tommy that well, but I didn't like the interview. I felt like it was really boring. I didn't hear anything from the interview that made me go, hmm, or made me say, you know what? This changed my mind about Tommy, or this made me look at her differently. There wasn't a lot of questions about her time on Love and Hip Hop, especially that incident between her and Jocelyn, where I guess she almost ran Jocelyn over with a car or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but like even questions like that. And I think to Nene, I think Nene is a creative, but for whatever reason, Nene wants something that's already established and that's already making money, and she wants to be a part of that. So she's still talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta. And for me, Nene, that ship has sailed. I don't see Nene on the Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore. And I'm saying this as a Nene Leaks fan. Where Real Housewives of Atlanta is right now, I don't see where Nene could fit in. She's a woman of a particular age. She is a widow. And I think that she is just at a different space in her life. And Real Housewives of Atlanta, where it is right now, I don't know. They need younger. That's what I think Real Housewives of Atlanta is right now. They need younger. I'm tired of them trying to go backwards, trying to recreate early Atlanta. It's just never going to happen. And fans need to give the producers of Atlanta the opportunity to cast new, fresh, young faces. And after they cast these people, they need to give these people time to tell their stories. It doesn't make sense that you hire a girl this season and then next season she's fired. And then you bring in a new person and then the next season that person is fired. What made Atlanta work for as long as it did is because majority of the cast was there for a long time. The only person that left from season one, I think only two people left from season one Atlanta, and it was Deshaun Snow and I don't remember that lady. I don't remember her name, but it was two people. But the stars stayed. So Nene, Sheree, Kim, right? And I think that's one of the things that's missing. That producers, y'all are listening to to social media too much. If social media says, "Oh, that person should be fired," here goes the producers. Let's fire them because the fans didn't like them. No, y'all need to give the fans time to like somebody, and also not be afraid of the fans hating people because people will hate watch. People will sit around and say, I hate I hate Shamia, I hate Drew, I hate Portia, but they will tune in every Sunday so that they can talk about how much they hate these people. You want one of two things on reality TV. You want a villain that people are going to hate and talk about, and then you also want a star that everybody's going to love and also talk about. You need both. But to want a cast of people who everyone likes, I don't know. That's not how reality TV works for me. That's not how it works for me. That's not how it works for me. Hey, Nanny of the Maroons. Happy Friday. What was my next topic? I don't remember. Sarah Jakes Roberts, we talked about that. We went into Nene Leaks and changes that I think that she can make to her show. Also, when it comes to Nene, I want her to tap into her creator bag and start pitching shows, reality TV shows that she can produce. Girl, you don't have to be in front of the cameras to make money. And I think that's what Nene believes. I think Nene Leaks believes that she can only be a star in front of the cameras. The way Nene told Carlos that you need to do your interviews in person, that will make your interviews better. And he listened and he did that. And he's had some Check, check, check. Because why didn't people had to call? And Carlos has had.
Okay, am I back? Okay, I'm back. And whether you hate him or love him, Carlos has had some good interviews, right? Um, on his Reality with the King podcast. But the reason why he started doing in person interviews is because Nene told him, "Sir, I'm not doing this Zoom call interview stuff with you. If I'm doing an interview with you, we got to do it in person." And he's been doing that ever since he did the Nene Leaks interview. The way Nene sat and told Tommy that, "Girl, you're actually funny. You can go and do a comedy show, and a comedy show doesn't have to be stand up." And that's true. A comedy show can literally be somebody just sitting on a stage and telling their life stories. Sometimes that's the kind of interaction that people want. A lot of people will enjoy a show like that. Wendy Williams had that type of show. She called it a comedy show, but it really wasn't. It was just Wendy telling her life story. Nene also had that type of comedy show too. It wasn't stand up. It was just Nene telling her life story, and bits of it just happened to be funny. So when she sat and she was telling Tommy Lee that, I was like, Nene, that's probably where you could also shine as an executive producer and creator of a show. You know how to spot talent. You know what reality TV needs. You don't have to be on the show. You don't have to be on the show. The idea that Nene had for stole the read session or whatever. But that was a good idea. That too was also a good idea. I think Nene fell back from that because Claudia, you know, kind of took the idea and ran with it with Al and Funky Dineva. But truth be told, it was a good idea that Nene had. So Nene, you do have the ability to create, but for whatever reason, you want to be a part of something that's created by someone else and that you can make millions from, and that's all good and well. That's all good and well. But please note that there are other ways to make money. There are other ways to make money behind the scenes. I don't understand why Nene hasn't gone back to audition for, a role on Broadway, or whether or not she is out here auditioning for movie roles. Because Nene is funny. You don't want to be typecast anyways, but yeah, I really do feel like Nene could be great at producing a reality TV show with an ensemble cast and being a voice in the back of their heads like, "Listen, girls, this is what reality TV needs. Y'all are young, fresh, and hot. Let's give them this. Let's be better than Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's be better than Potomac. Let's be better than all these shows on Bravo." Nene, you have an in with Zeus. Zeus needs something that's less ratchet. You could go pitch that because I am not tuning into Zeus for no Bad Girls Club or nothing. If Nene could bring an ensemble cast of women, young women who are classy, wealthy, entrepreneurs, mothers, daughters, wives, and create a show surrounding them, women who are not half naked, drunk, and fighting, I feel like she could produce something great. I feel like Nene could produce something great. Nani of the Maroon says, yes. Oh, why is it not coming up? Yes, Nene Leakes is reality TV royalty. She shouldn't be out here tussling with the girls to make money. Right? Down to YouTube, tussling with everybody else. And the numbers aren't even better than people who have less followers or subscribers than she does. She's literally hitting the same numbers that people with 50,000 subscribers, 10K subscribers are hitting. So you're right. She's out here trusting everybody else down here on YouTube. Real quick, I'm gonna talk about Rachel and Real Housewives of Miami, and then I'm gonna call it. Then I'm gonna call it a day. All right. So I can't wait for the Real Housewives of Miami reunion. I am officially Team Gertie all the way. Um, it's gonna be three the hard way. It's gonna be Gertie, Lisa, and Adriana, and I feel like they are going to be on the winning side of the reunion. The treatment of Gertie this entire season has been atrocious. This is the woman who survived cancer, was still undergoing surgeries, was still undergoing chemotherapy, and she was being assaulted, ostracized. People are going on vacation, hosting a vacation trips for a woman who claims to be leaving a man, claims to be divorcing a man, but she wants to end the trip early so that she can go celebrate this man's birthday. But nobody said, let's throw a party for Gertie because she just beat cancer. Let's plan a trip for Gertie because she just beat cancer. Let's give Gertie the presidential suite because she just beat cancer. Let's give Gertie our seat on the private jet because she just beat cancer. They want to say Gertie's too much. They want to say she's too loud. They want to say, that she is aggressive. She doesn't allow people to talk and all these things. But yet, the people who are actually aggressive aren't being reprimanded. The people who actually do too much, nothing's being said about them. Nothing's being said about them. When Julia threw the drink in Gertie's face, they just the rest of the cast just went on like nothing happened and made a whole toast and everything. Julia, and everybody's clutching their invisible pearls because how dare you show text messages that prove that Julia is a liar and that she's been lying on you this entire time. But nobody clutched their invisible pearls when Julia was assaulting Gertie. No one clutched their pearls. Nobody was isolating Julia and ostracizing her when she threw a drink at Gertie. But Gertie has to be on a whole other yacht because the group has to be separated because of all the things that are happening between Gertie and Julia. What? That's crazy. That is crazy. Right, Mama Bees. It is despicable how they treated her. And you know who I am even more so disappointed in? Kiki. I am so disappointed in Kiki. Because at every turn, she was throwing Gertie under the bus. Gertie told her that when Larsa was talking badly about Lisa while Lisa was somewhere, burying her father after he passed. And Kiki goes back and tells the group that Gertie is the one that told Lisa. Meanwhile, Lisa is there having Gertie's back, like, y'all don't have to know who told me that y'all were talking badly about me while I was burying my dad. Y'all don't have to know. But Kiki, the only other black girl, the only other black woman on the cast, she's over there running her mouth. She's over there trying to hold Gertie back after Julia assaults her, acting going to get all ghetto and ratchet and fight. And Gertie had to let her know, you don't have to hold me. I'm not that type of person. Kiki is trying to have Gertie leave the event after water was thrown on her, but she didn't check Julia not one time. Kiki has not had Gertie's back this entire season. She has not said not one time, Julia, you're a liar. Julia, you're doing too much. And it's so sad to see. And now you've unfollowed her. What? Because she clocked you at the reunion? I hope Gertie clocked you real good at the reunion. Because you should feel embarrassed. You should feel embarrassed, Kiki, to the point you have to you have to have low self esteem to only want to side with the people you feel have power. Nobody should make you feel so low on the ladder, or what they call it, the totem pole. Nobody should make you feel so low that in the midst of your friend being assaulted, you're more worried about how the quote unquote cool girls are going to view you if you stand up and say, no, my friend is right and that girl is wrong. And Kiki, you've done a horrible job this season in defending the right side. I can't stand Marisol. I can't stand Alexia. Alexia's out here flip flopping now. Yes, she is. Because she's seeing what the comments are saying. The comments are talking about the microaggression that has existed this entire season with how they treated Julia versus how they treated Gertie. And Gertie was actually the one who was assaulted, but they treated Julia like she was the victim this whole time. And so Alexia doesn't want to be out here looking like a R word, the Ray, the Ray Charles and the sis, the Ray and the sis. Okay, she doesn't want to look like that. So of course she's out here now saying, yes, we should have done better by Gertie after Julia threw a drink at her. We should have had a better reaction that made Gertie feel supported. Absolutely, y'all should have, but it's a little too late now. And the only reason why you're saying that now is because the comment section is eating you alive. It's eating y'all alive. I think that's what it is. You know what? You're putting it into perspective, Mama B. Because I keep forgetting. Honestly, a lot of the times I forget that Kiki, Marisol, and Adriana are friends of the show because they don't really seem like friends off because you always see them with the group. They're in almost every scene, just like everybody else, you know? So you almost feel like they have a mojito glass, but yeah, they are. I know for a fact that Marisol doesn't want Adriana on the show because she feels like anybody's if out of between her between Marisol and Adriana, if one of them were supposed to be promoted to a full-time spot, I feel like it would be Adriana. That's what I feel. And I don't know why they won't give Kiki a full-time spot, but last season and the season before I really liked Kiki, but now I'm like, yeah, she don't deserve to have a full-time spot. Inspired. If the little rumblings that I'm hearing in different Bravo TV circles here on YouTube and on social is anything to go by, then Julia might actually have been fired, and I would be so happy if that was the case. I'd be so happy if that was the case. But anyways, y'all, those are my thoughts. Thanks to everyone that tuned in. I went a little bit over the 30 minutes that I had in my mind, but not too shabby, 49 minutes. Thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter now called X at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Until my next live or my next video, walk good. Bye.